Alright everyone, as you know, I like to analyze propaganda. The more obvious that it is, the more people miss that it's propaganda usually, because that's the whole thing. The smoke and mirrors of a magician are always relatively evident if you take a step back and realize that it's just a trick. You're not supposed to focus on the pyrotechnics. The hand that is gesturing wildly that you're supposed to focus on isn't the one that's taking the card out of the deck and putting it in a pocket or something like that. Stage magic is wonderfully similar to modern-day politics. Well, really to politics since antiquity. I want you to take a look at a photograph. Look at this photograph. It's a picture taken by an ass. Link in the description. It's just a tweet of mine where I'm replicating another photo. What do you see? Standard answer would be 90% of people answer, well, it's a stack of boxes full of classified documents in the Mar-A-Lago. Orange man, bad. Now, here's what I see. I see a case where you're alleging that about 100 classified documents were taken illicitly by Donald Trump. Now, pertinent to those documents, full and up front here, most of those really, the only charges stemming from their existence at all at the Mar-A-Lago are data retention rules. The Espionage Act and so forth kick in over a couple of defense documents, which the public will never actually be able to see. You got to understand the weird legality in this particular case is that the public is going to have to be assured whether Trump is punished or not, that everything was above board and there was a fair trial, even though a lot of the evidence can't even be viewed by the jury, let alone the American public. Yeah, that's a fair trial. There's no nuance or civic problem here at all. No constitutional crisis here at all. It's not election interference either. Everything's perfectly normal and hunky-dory. Trump brought it upon himself, says Mitt Romney. What I see here, though, is propaganda. I see dozens and dozens of boxes stored in the Mar-A-Lago bathroom, the Mar-A-Lago storage room, etc., etc. How many boxes do 100 pieces of paper fill? Or 100 documents? Classified documents typically, okay, they're a couple of pages long. It's some intel briefing with regards to South Korean proto-nuclear capabilities. It could be a handwritten note, actually, too, that's been scanned in. It's a page on, the Defense Department is experimenting using ants to clear landmines or something like that. You've got a problem with overclassification, by the way. Some of this stuff doesn't need to be classified. This is the other side of the story you're not getting. So let me ask this. Do you think that 100 classified documents fill up that many boxes? Well, yeah, if you only put 1 or 2 pieces of paper in every box. There's the propaganda. The whole goal of the pictures that you're seeing right now, assuming that you open the link, and you should, you can follow along. It's like live action bullshit. The reason why the picture was made is to convince you that the problem is of greater magnitude. The original pictures from the Mar-A-Lago raid, you remember those. You've got a couple of boxes off to the side, Time magazine covers, Melania's underwear and stuff like that. I'm sure the FBI agents loved the fact that they had that and sick people. And they had some documents on the floor from, those boxes in the storage room. And it was underwhelming. It's a small pile of documents, most of which, again, are like 3 or 4 pages long. It doesn't even fill one box, and you're also showing us pictures of Time magazine covers, newspapers and stuff. They're showing us more pictures of that now that aren't even pertinent to your case. The material that was recovered before it was sorted mostly wasn't classified at all. The vast, vast majority of it never qualified as anything pertinent to a legal case at all. The fact is that Trump was treating these documents like personal papers, which makes sense. It appears that the National Archives was involved with deliberately screwing him on this token, specifically to make sure that the materials were at the Mar-A-Lago as opposed to immediately repatriated, telling him everything was fine, and then gunning for him later on. Ultimately, this entire case sounds like a setup, more than anything else at this point. At first, it was just like, okay, Trump took his work home with him, like other presidents have, Clinton's sock drawer, Joe Biden's garage, actually. And they're uniquely going after him for something that other people have done. Originally, it looked more like that. Just an opportunistic attack. Okay, well, there's probably some documents here. Presidents tend to have those. We'll raid the Mar-A-Lago. Get someone to call from a phone booth saying that there's something top secret there and we're all set. At first, it was just differential enforcement. Now it looks like an explicit cover, and now it looks like an explicit setup job. It looks like the National Archives at some point... Kitty, can you leave your sister alone? was explicitly involved with the Biden admin, and they called the shots on this, that the Biden admin effectively told him, hey, don't let them store in a localized facility. You don't do that. Just tell him it's okay to take it home with him. All of it. Under normal circumstances, of course, some of that material wouldn't have been taken home. It would have been taken to a third-party facility run by the National Archives and secured by the government itself. This is what typically happens for presidents. Well, that didn't happen in this case. I'm being told that that's because Donald Trump is just brazen. He decided when he lost, he just stormed off. He took everything with him. He didn't want to cooperate. What it looks like now is more like no offer of cooperation was ever granted in the first place, with him understanding that he had the legal capability to possess those documents because, of course, he's the president with wide-sweeping D-class powers, and under the Presidential Records Act, of course, that material becomes his personal property because he can arbitrarily determine that it happens to be, absent a couple potential defense documents, but again, I'm never going to get to see what's in those documents. I have no clue if they're overclassified, improperly classified, or exist at all. That's the whole problem here with this particular case. But the massive propaganda here is basically a fucking photograph. You're being shown an enormous pile of paperwork from the Mar-A-Lago bathroom. How do you know? You don't. How do you know that a single classified document was in the unsecured bathroom as opposed to the double secured storage room that Trump was cooperating explicitly with the standing administration on making sure that it was secure? Well, you don't. That nuance is entirely missing. Photographs lie all of the time. It's an exaggeration of the scope of the problem. It's showing you multiple locations that were searched, but it's not telling you what was at each location. It's not telling you the level of classification. It doesn't make any sense. The write-up on the actual indictment does, but that's not attached to the photograph, now is it? How very lovely. I wonder why they put that photograph out for public consumption. I thought everything there was highly classified. This is like a major case of treason, the highest level felony that we've seen in our republic's history. Why are you showing the security facilities around the evidence then? Why would that even be pertinent to public interest? Well, these and many such other questions probably never going to be answered. I just wanted to expose the massive propaganda. And of course, that's not the only level of propaganda. It's just when I saw the photo, something clicked in me. I'm like, oh God, this is fucking horse shit. This is hilarious, but it's hilarious in a sad way. It's basically, this photograph represents the dumbing down of our republic towards tyranny, and not because Orange Man bad and violated the Constitution and endangered national security. No, because the deep state apparatus is trying to turn us into a fucking banana republic. This is a symbol of that. That's about all. Peace out.